Hi students, welcome to Code Pathshala. Today we will be solving longest palindromic substring problem on LeetCode. So let's look at the problem statement. The problem statement says we are given a string S and we have to return the longest palindromic substring in S. So we have to return the longest palindromic substring of a in a string. So palindrome is a string which is spelled same ways forwards or backwards. For example, given the string BABAD, BAB is a palindrome. Whether you read it from left to right or right to left, it is still BAB. Such strings are called palindrome. Here there is another palindrome ABA, but still they are asking for longest. So both of them are equal to 3 in length. So any one is a valid answer. Okay. Now if you look at CBBD, the answer is BB. Okay. C, what are the other substrings here? CB, BD, CBB, BBD, CBBD. None of them are palindromes. Only this one is a palindrome. Okay. So we have to return such uh, palindromic max length palindromic substring, and if two of them have same length or many of them have same length, any one of them can be returned. Either of them will be considered a valid answer. Now, let's solve this through a example first. Let's understand the approach first. So let's take a example. Okay. Let the example be B, A, B, A, A, and B. Okay. Let's say this is a given string. Okay. The indices for this are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Length of the string is 6. Okay. Now, one way to solve this is find all the substrings of the given string, and for each string find if any of them is a palindrome, and uh, keep track of the maximum in that. So that is a brute force approach, and that would be that would take order of n cube. So finding substrings is order of n square, and for each substring finding if it is a palindrome is order of n. Okay, so that would be order of n cube solution, and that is not what we want. So there is a slightly better approach that is possible. Let's look at that. So while a string of length 1, if s is yes or not yes, if n equal to 1, then that itself is a palindrome that is given. So we have to find for anything greater than 1. Okay. So now let's say we start here. Okay. Let's say we start at this point, I equal to 1. Okay. At each point, what we will do is from this point is a palindrome possible. Okay. Imagine this as a midpoint of a palindrome. Okay. For example, let's say there is a string like this and we are here. From this point, how do we find if a palindrome is possible? We go towards left and we keep going towards left and right. And as long as left and right are equal, okay, that is a palindrome. For example, here if there is B, we will keep going. Whereas now if you see different characters here, we will stop. So as long as, let's call this left and let's call this right. As long as the characters at left and right are equal, we'll keep decrementing left and incrementing right. Okay. And once they don't match, we break. So if this is the given string and if we start at B, this will be our longest palindrome of size 5. Now there are two types of palindromes. Okay. Even palindrome and odd palindrome. What we have seen here earlier is a odd palindrome. Now in this case, you have to consider this as midpoint and you have to go left and right from here. Okay, which means left will start here and right will start here. Okay, whereas in this case, left will start here and right will start here. Except the starting point, the rest of the logic is same in both these cases. Okay, so at a point or at a given point in the string, okay, to see if a palindrome is possible, there are two ways. There can be an even palindrome. So at I equal to 1, even palindrome will, will be, you have to check for B and A. Or there can be an odd palindrome. Okay, let's write it maybe. So at I equal to 1. Odd, in odd case, left is equal to, so in odd case, we will leave the center point, which is I equal to 1. So left will be 0 and right will be 2. I minus 1, I plus 1. This is I minus 1, this is I plus 1. We start from there and find the palindrome. In even case, we started left is 0, still 0, I minus 1, but we have to consider the current one itself as right. So right will be 1, which is I. Okay. So using this odd and even expanding from the middle, we will find palindromes possible. So there are two palindromes possible at any point, a odd palindrome or a even palindrome. Okay. We will keep expanding like that, and once we find, we take the maximum of odd palindrome length or even palindrome length. That is the maximum palindrome you can form at this point. Okay. At each point, we will keep calculating the maximum palindrome and we will keep track of the maximum as well. Okay. That is the algorithm we follow. It can be confusing when I am saying this, but let's do a dry run. It is actually pretty simple. Okay, let's erase this. Now, okay, now let's say we are at I equal to 1. Okay, now we have to find odd palindrome and even palindrome length. Okay, odd palindrome we are saying is starting at coordinates 0 and 2, and even palindrome is 0 and 1. So, if you start at 0 and 2, 0 is already at the edge of the string. You can't go beyond this. So, B and B are equal. That is why the length of it will be 3. Whereas if you check for even palindrome 0 and 1, character at 0 and character at 1 are not same. 0 has B, A has 1. Sorry, 1 has A. B and A are not equal. So there is no palindrome, even palindrome possible at I equal to 1. So size would be 0. Similarly, when I goes here, okay, again we have to do odd and even. Okay, okay. Now let's take a step back. So we have found odd and even. So what we are saying is of this maximum is this one. We have to keep track of the substring as well. Initially, let's say our substring is just the first character. Now, the length of the string we found is greater than the substring we have. Okay, so we will update start. What will be the new start? New start will be current value I minus max length by 2. Okay, which would be 0. And what would be the new end? I plus. You have to go towards the right. Okay, again 3 by 2, but you have to do a minus 1 here to take care of the overflow at the end. Okay, 1 plus 1 would be 2. Okay, so this will be our new left and right. Okay, now let's do it for I equal to 2. Okay, if I equal to 2, what will be the case? Again, we have to find odd and even. Okay, we have to find odd and even. So odd coordinates for I equal to 2. When I equal to 2, odd coordinates will be 1 and 3. Okay. Odd coordinates would be 1 and 3. And even coordinates would be 1 and 2. Okay. At 1 and 3, which is this part, what is the maximum palindrome possible? B and A are not equal, so 3 would be the maximum. And what at 1 and 2, is anything palindrome possible? No, A and B are not equal. So even is still 0 in this case. And here max length is 3, which is same as our earlier value. So we won't be updating. Okay. Now let's do it for I equal to 3. Again, what would be odd and even? When I equal to 3, odd is starting at 2 and 4. Okay. Odd expansion starts at 2 and 4 and even would be 2 and 3. Okay. At 2 and 4, is a palindrome possible? No, B and A are not equal. At 2 and 3, is a palindrome possible? No, B and A are not equal. So in at I equal to 3, both odd and even are 0. Now let's look for I equal to 4. What would be odd and even? When I equal to 4, odd coordinates would be 3 and 5 and even coordinates would be 3 and 4. Okay, 3 and 5. Is a palindrome possible using this string? No, A and B are not equal. So odd size is 0. 3 and 4. A and A are equal. So we will expand. B and B are equal. Now we reach the end of the string. So size would be 4. Okay. Now whatever we have is greater than the current size we have. So we will update start and end again. Start would be I minus I is 4 minus 4 by 2. Okay. Which is 2. End would be 4 minus 4 minus 1 by 2, which would be 1. 4 plus, sorry. Okay, which would be 5. So this is the case I was talking about the overflow. Here, if you don't do minus 1, the size will go beyond the array, which is why for end you have to do this minus 1. Okay, now our new start and end are 2 and 5. We are at I equal to 4. Now let's go to I equal to 5. What would be odd and even in this case? When I equal to 5. Okay, when I equal to 5, odd is not possible. Okay, when I equal to 5, odd should be 3, sorry, not 3, 4 and 6, and even should be 4 and 5. 4 and 6 is not possible, 6 is beyond the array, but 4 and 5 is not possible, but A and B are not equal, which is why both of these are 0 in this case. So we didn't find any new one here. So the answer would be substring of start and end, which is 2 comma 5. So substring of 2 comma 5 is this one. Okay, BAAB. Let's solve this using code. Okay, so if you look at the code, it is pretty simple than the explanation. So first let's get the length of the string in a variable n. Okay, now what we said is we'll start at I equal to 1, right? So we have to handle 0 case. So if the string is just one character, what do we do? That means if the length of the string is 1, then it is a palindrome, right? So we will return S. Nothing to do there. Otherwise, we will start with first character as the answer, and for int we start at 1. We go till the length of the string. Okay. At each point, we will find odd palindrome length and even palindrome length. Okay. Expand at middle. Let's write a function. So odd palindrome would be I minus 1 comma I plus 1. Okay, even palindrome would be expanded middle. Okay, s comma I minus 1 and I itself. Okay, the current position. Okay, now we found the two palindromes. We still have to implement the function, but let's say we have the answer. Now we have to get the max of this two. Okay, okay. Once we have the max, if max length is greater than n minus start, okay, n minus start should give us the current max length. Okay, then we have to update start and end. Start would be I minus max length by 2. Okay, and end would be I plus max length minus 1 by 2. To take care of the overflow, we have to do minus 1 here. Now, once we have the start and end, we have to just return the substring from start to end. And Java substring end should be, you should give the total length size. That is why it should be plus 1 here. Okay. And now we have to implement the actual palindrome function. Expanded middle string is, we are taking left and right, and what do? We keep while left is less than right, as long as left is less than right and left is greater than or equal to 0 and right is less than. In case of boundary conditions, there is no point going beyond right, we have to break. As long as all these are true, and s dot char at left, okay, the character at left is equal to s dot char at right. Okay, as long as, let me put these conditions in new line. Okay, yeah, so as long as left and right are in the boundaries and character at left is equal to character at right, we keep doing, we keep expanding from there. When you expand, you go to left minus minus and right plus plus. Okay, now once this is done, you should have the value here. We are supposed to return length from this, so it should be right minus left. And okay, let's run this and see. Okay, we don't have to pass yes here, yes dot substring. Okay, let's submit this. Okay, yeah. So what we did, simply at each point we found the two palindromes that are possible. Okay, of the two, whatever is maximum, we picked that and we adjusted the start and end pointers based on that. So with this, we are able to solve this in order of n square. One loop to traverse the string and one loop, or one loop to find the palindrome, if it is a palindrome. Okay. So the time complexity here is order of n square. There is no additional space that we are using, so the space complexity is order of 1. Hope you like the problem. Please practice and happy coding. Thank you.